Welcome, everybody, to another WTFC Summer Sessions episode. I'm so excited to have everybody with us. Today, we have Johanne as our special guest. And so we're going to talk to Johanne a little bit about her career in trucking, how she got here, what she loves about it, the joys, the struggles, and how she got through them, everything in between. But give us a little introduction. Introduce yourself to the crowd.
Hi, I'm Johanne Couture. I have been in the trucking industry for 31 years. First 14 years of that was pulling reefers and vans, and the last of it has been pulling chemical tankers. So everything I do is liquid. Slosh is my life. I ride the wave.
Oh my gosh, Slosh's life. So how did you get into trucking? What was your introduction into it? How did you first end up in a seat?
I used to work for the city bus company in Ottawa at OC Transpo, and I was the lowest. I was the newest there, so I was the lowest on the seniority list, and my days off were Tuesday, Wednesday, and I was working night shift, and I was 25 years old. That wasn't much of a, well, I started that when I was 20. So, but when I made the decision to go trucking is because I figured, well, okay, I'm going to be stuck with, undesirable days off and not much of a social life. So I may as well go see the country and, go see North America and pick my days off, because that is
Yeah.
one of the advantages of trucking, that you can choose which days you want off. You make
Mm,
yourself available, but you can choose which days you want off. So, and
very
that is
interesting.
why I went trucking. Yeah.
So you started at 20 as a city bus driver,
No,
and then
I worked for the garage.
pardon me?
I worked for the city bus company, but I worked in the garage. So I did
Oh.
maintenance on buses. Yeah. So fueling, checking oil, changing tires. Yeah. That's
Okay,
what I
so
did.
how did you start at that as a 20-year-old female? What was like calling? Because that's not like as we're learning, not the stereotypical entrance. And so what called you to that first? Because we like to say, as always, under the hood, behind the wheel, behind the desk, we're all a piece of the puzzle. So what was that puzzle piece for you?
Well, I had graduated from high school, went to college in broadcasting, and
What?
uh, yeah, yeah, I know we're going to go backwards on that one too. Went to college for broadcasting. The particular program I was in at the time was not exactly what I was hoping for, so I didn't finish the whole. I didn't get a degree out of it because I chose to. Nah, I think I'm just going to go work for a year, and then we'll change schools and go to a different school that had a different program.
Okay.
And so I went to work, and I worked three jobs because I was always been a workaholic, quality instilled to me by my parents. And uh, there was a job ad for OC Transpo in Ottawa, which is the bus company, and they wanted a bilingual information clerk. Now, a
Mm,
bilingual information clerk literally tells people where to go in a really nice way. So they would back then, there was no internet or anything like that. Today you would just Google this, but back then somebody would call and say, I need to go from here to there. Which bus do I take from here to there? And when's the bus coming by? And my job was to tell them, well, you're going to take this bus to this point and then switch to transfer to another bus that'll take you to where you're going and what times they're coming at. So that was the job of the information clerk, which I thought was, okay, well, this is a foot in the door, and this is
mhm.
a big company, it's a union job, and blah blah blah, and this could be, a good job for a while. And then they had a job posting for working in the garage, and seeing as I was always, my dad was a diesel mechanic, so I grew up with diesel running through my veins. So
Got it.
th- there,
Liquid
there's the
slosh.
mechanical connection. Yeah. So I applied for the job in the garage, and yeah, so that paid more. It was um more what I wanted to do rather than sit at a desk. I've never wasn't really a desk person.
Mm.
So yeah, that's what brought me into the garage. But then when I saw that, okay, I'm going to be having Tuesday, Wednesday off and not my pick of the litter of, vacation time or postings or, shifts, I looked around for other things I could do. And at the time I was dating somebody who drove a heavy tow truck and well, big trucks are really interesting. And yeah, decided to get my license and go trucking and see
Oh,
North America.
okay. Is there something about the industry that really drew you towards it? Like, as you're telling your story and talking about your dad and then kind of just your journey and the people that were influencing you in that, was there something about the industry that adds, like, at that young age, at that stage of life, was really interesting to you? Or was it the opportunity to kind of like choose that flexibility and kind of create that life that you were looking to build? Like, were you building Legos or how did that kind of come together or stay
Well,
together, I suppose?
to go back a little bit, when I was in high school, my dream job was I want a job where I can just pack up and leave. So when I took broadcasting, my goal at that point was to be the person holding the camera on whatever wartime or big world event and travel the world and be the camera person. That's so the pack up and leave job.
Mm.
So this became a different pack up and leave travel job, except it was North America. It was the freedom. It was my office. I have a corner office and the scenery changes constantly. So it was just the freedom and being able to see the world or North America in this case, but yeah, travel.
I love that. You have a three wall window office
Yeah.
and your scenery is better than any other humans. I mean, I last week I sat in somebody's corner office. They just had two wall windows. And I was like, this is pretty cool. But all they did was look at concrete. I was excited for them. I was like, this is awesome. And all you're doing is looking at a parking garage. You get to drive out and see the
Yep.
mountains or whatever you want.
That's right. That's
That's
right.
that's
Yeah. I
great.
can see both the oceans in a week and yeah, it's really cool.
So
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about the difference between reefer and tanker, because what is that like in a day by day difference? What is that like long term like what is the difference driving one to the next?
Um, Tanker's a little more physical, so I got to climb to the top of the tank. I got to pull out hoses, lay out and hook up hoses to deliver the product. Reefer, well, you swing doors, you open and close doors, so it's a little less physical. Reefer, you do a little more sitting time because a lot of times, like, product's not quite ready, it's still in progress. You're at packing warehouses, you're at freezer warehouses. It can be the logistics of it can involve a little more waiting time, which is, it has its ups and downs. With tanker, everybody's waiting for what I'm bringing in. So they're happy to see me when I show up. It's not just another load of frozen pizza. It's
Hmm.
they want their product. So it's part of their recipe of their final product or they're going to re-deliver it. So they want what I'm bringing. So it's just two different worlds as far as customer relations when you get to the other end. The customer is happy to see me where sometimes the reefer and van stuff, they're like, yeah, another load of frozen pizza. Where are we going to put this? Yeah, we don't have room for the ones we got.
That's so interesting. So what is your, and this you can answer this in whichever way you so choose, or tell me to go away because you don't like the question, but what is your mental capacity perhaps looked like differently in the first 15 years compared to the second 15 years, understanding that like you're doing a dang hard job, you're pulling that thing across the country, you show up, people are much more accepting, much more excited to see you. Does that change the way that you view your job every day, or is it not really
Yeah,
different and it's just kind of nice?
it I at this point in time I would tell you that I wouldn't go back to pulling a van or a reefer. I
Mm.
Anything changes, I'd be looking for another tank company. I I really love the customer relations, the way the interaction with the customers on the tank side of the business. Now, that might not be true for everybody, right? So that because there's it's like everything else in trucking. Like some people would rather do long haul stuff. Some people want to be home every day. So it's a different facet for everybody. But for me, yeah, I really love my customer interaction. Like I show up this customer this morning, last time I was here, he was in the process of looking for a new house. So he doesn't like the neighborhood he's in. They just moved from Colorado a few years ago. So, and when I come back, we have interaction. Whereas a lot of the van and reefer business, I didn't get as much interaction that way. And those were places that I went to repeatedly too, but it wasn't as friendly.
Mhm.
There's more friendliness.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay, so I have two questions for you, and you can take without whichever one you want first, but I want answers for both of them. For an employer's perspective, the person who's on the dock receiving the driver when they get there, what can that person do, or what has that person done for you that has made it easier to get there? Like it is just well received. I know some people have warm lunches for drivers that are available, and that's kind of like a beautiful opposite side of the spectrum compared to a really nice clean bathroom or just a happy smile. But like, what's something that when you arrive as a driver makes you excited to be delivering there? And then on the flip side, when you're done with that, I'm really curious to talk to the drivers. If they've been doing the same kind of driving for 5 years, 10 years, and they're debating giving up driving. Would you suggest that they look at a different lane first, or would you say, no, these are kind of the things that you need to consider, and if you're done with this, you should look at a different direction in transportation? And I'm very curious on both of those coming out of that.
Okay. So as far as being well received, just
Mhm.
even if you don't care, pretend like you care. Start with a good
Mhm.
morning and a smile.
Yep.
If you're having a bad day, it doesn't need to reflect on mine. Like we don't need to start off on a grouchy, just start off positive and willingly tell me where the bathroom is. Don't wait for me to
Mhm.
ask. That makes it like you went from you know, a 2-star customer to a 10-star customer instantly if you tell me where the ladies' room is. Because chances are, I gotta go. Because I've been
Mhm.
driving for hours to get here. So that is well received. And if you're if you can't take me, there's a delay or something, just tell me. Like this is transportation. I've been doing it for years. You're not the first place I've waited at. Just yeah, instead of misleading me. Oh yeah, we'll get to you right away. And 4 hours later, I'm still not delivering yet. So just
Mhm.
tell me. Like the honesty. And as far as a driver looking to change, yeah, definitely try doing something different. Try looking at a different facet of the industry. There's I made the change from reefers to tanks. So that was in 2008. The price of fuel went through the roof, and I'm an owner operator. So when the price of fuel went through the roof, and the current carrier I was at, due to contract restrictions, couldn't keep up with the fuel surcharge and the price of fuel going high, I was 6 months away from having the truck paid for and looking at dwindling paychecks just because of the cost of fuel and not being compensated for the fuel surcharge. So that's why I made the change. It wasn't because I wanted to go pull tanks and they're nice and shiny and they look really cool going down the road. At the time, it was a financial decision, but it turned into a I want to pull tanks because they're nice and shiny and they look cool going down the road. And I love what I do. Like, yeah, totally love it. I'm well compensated. I got on with a good carrier. I got lucky. But yes, do look at other facets of the industry because what is annoying you at wherever you're at now, it could be non existent at a different carrier.
Mm, yes, definitely. Definitely. Have you thought about that checklist at all in regards to like when your carrier isn't working anymore? If it's The hours that are better. That's such a silly question, actually. That's so personal to every single person. Never mind. Just kidding. I'm much more interested to ask about you being an owner operator. Tell me about that experience. How did you decide to get your own truck? What was that like? What was the difference like moving from one to the next? How did that all happen?
So the first 4 years of my career, I was a company driver. And every time I took time off, I was like, somebody's going to get into my truck. And I had to move all my stuff out. And typical woman, everybody who knows me, who's had a peek inside my truck, will tell you I carry way too much stuff. But that is because I try to be proactive and, well, I might need this. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of I might need that I haven't used in years in this truck. But so I didn't like the fact of having to move out of the truck every time I took like a week off for vacation or anything like that. So I decided, well, we'll fix that problem. We'll just buy my own truck and then I can buy what I want. And I had been driving one make of truck that had a lot of rattles, but that was the company truck, and that's how they were made back then. And so I decided, yeah, I'm not going to buy the same thing. I'm going to buy something different that is not as rattly. So, yes. So, and I've owned three Volvos since 1998. So, yes. And
Nice. And you
this
love
one is 15 years old, and I keep taking it to the shop. The shop loves me. They just fix what's broke, and yeah, love my truck.
That's nice. I've been in a couple Volvo trucks. They seem gorgeous. And I mean with very little understanding to compare them because I just walk in them and I just think they all look beautiful. But I have not heard the rattling that you are discussing, but firmly believe. Um, okay, well that's really interesting. So you did it because I mean I am a overpacker at heart, so I completely understand and respect this decision. I I like to have my stuff because I'm like, I don't want to go have to buy something new if I need it, if I already have it. So I'd rather just bring it. But that's funny. That's interesting that it was fully just about being nobody else is getting in your truck and this is yours and yours alone. Very
And
good.
that evolved, it was also, this is better tax advantages, better opportunity to put away retirement money, and build a nest egg. And it became financial over time. But initially, it was, yeah, I don't want anybody else in my truck.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. What what would be your one tip? And I'm curious for somebody who's going to be a company driver and also an owner operator. But what would your one tip to that person be who wants to get into the industry, who wants to be a driver and is sitting at home right now? Maybe they're a mechanic and they're debating it. Maybe they are a teacher and they're like, get me out of this classroom. Who knows? What would your suggestion to that person be who's interested but has no idea what to do?
Do your research, pick a good school, because a good school will get you hired. It will make you an easier hire. If you just look at the cost of the school and go for the lesser expensive ones, when it comes time to putting in applications all over the place, the lesser schools don't have as good a reputation with the recruiters. So that is to start with. And follow your dreams. See the country. Don't be afraid. Every obstacle there is out here can be overcome. And look for mentorship from current drivers, from like WTFC. Like we are willing, ready, willing, and able to share our knowledge and to make everybody comfortable. There's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be things that you're going to go, oh, I didn't expect this. But everything can be overcome. It's just a matter of finding the right solution and reaching out. And there's no such thing as a stupid question.
Hmm.
The only stupid question is the one that wasn't asked. So be willing to ask questions.
That's nice and reassuring for me because as much as I love transportation, I need to know so much more about it. And I've got so many questions that I want to ask, and I'm like, that could be the dumbest thing on the planet. But no, gotta keep
Right?
asking. Gotta keep asking. So I love that. And I love and it might end up being the title. There is going to be a bump in the road. Like without a doubt, that is just going to happen. From your perspective, what is, I mean, share the bump in the road that you faced or don't share the bump in the road that you face. I don't care. But what is kind of the one tip that you would give people that you're like, this is the thing that I learned. Like I learned how to be resilient because of XYZ, or I know that whatever it is for you. What would be your one tip
Okay.
to survival in this industry for somebody who wants to last the long haul?
So survival is actually kind of a good word to this tip. So safety is something that is top of mind. So, and I have I've educated a lot of people over the years, the fact of things that I do different that the men would do in a different, also differently, the opposite way.
Mm.
So the very best tip I got when I started, and this is going to sound maybe silly, but it's a safety one.
Okay.
When you're going to go to bed at night, before you go to bed, most people go to the washroom. So if you're going to get out of the truck and go to the washroom, stop at this truck stop or stop at this rest area. Don't sleep there. Go to the next one. So plan your washroom stop ahead of time because you're going to make two stops. Because when you get to the one you're going to sleep at, you're not going to get out of the truck. So that way nobody sees you. It's dark. Nobody sees who's driving that truck. And it's a safety thing. So you can go to bed feeling safe. So, and on that safety thing too, follow your gut. There's times where the logbook says one thing, but your gut says another thing. Follow your gut. If you don't feel safe, move. Go to somewhere where you feel safe.
Mm.
This is 31 years of over the road. I've been to every undesirable neighborhood you can think of. Throughout these years, I've been to the ritzy neighborhoods, and I've I've had times where I've had the gut feeling that says, yeah, this doesn't feel right, and left and gone back the next morning. So you can always make an excuse for, not an excuse, but justify why you did something as far as personal safety. So that is like as far as a woman's way of looking at things. Men
Hmm.
don't look. They get out of the truck and do their thing and don't even think of that. So that is just, you got to look at things a little differently that way. Take personal ownership for your own personal safety and look around, be aware,
Yeah.
like, yeah, awareness.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard you give that tip before, and that stuck with me for a long time. I'm like, it actually doesn't necessarily even need to relate to that, but just as a female who's driving around at night, you can just kind of be very aware and cautious about where you're stopping and where you're getting off. And for people who just travel a lot or are driving, where you're getting off and getting gas and where you're stopping for the night to stay and all of those wonderful things. So that's really good. My next question for you was very in line with this, and that can be your good tip, or you will probably, I imagine, have another one for me. But I want to get a good just human trafficking awareness tip out in each of these episodes. Is there anything that you've seen that's specifically good, perhaps for drivers, like things that they can be aware of or watching for, or something in regards to your safety as well? Is there anything that pops up for that?
There again, it's personal awareness. So aware of your surroundings. So you walk into the washroom and you're washing your hands after you're done, and somebody walks in and looks a little skittish, looks run down, malnutrition, kind of fidgety, nervous, goes into the stall to use the washroom. And when you walk out, you notice that there's someone standing right by the door of the washroom, waiting for this other lady that just walked in. That is signs of, so she didn't look comfortable. She looked maybe malnourished, nutrition, um, skittish. And this person standing outside the door is Mr. Possessive. so to speak. So that is signs. Those are things that you can report, not things you get involved in. You're not the hero.
Mm-hmm.
The hero is the person that makes the phone call. So that is something that you can report, and you say you suspect that this person might not be there of her own will or not comfortable. Can you send officers to come and have a look? So that is, but being aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's good. Just continual awareness and just specifically restrooms. There's so much to be watching for. I just did a personal safety course this last weekend, and it was really good and really valuable. But something that they were talking about was just the watering holes. Like everybody is in a watering hole, no matter what watering hole it is. And so having your awareness through those places in both sides, right? Like for your own
Yeah.
safety and for the people around you is so, so, so valuable. But thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right, my last question for you, and then I might give you another one just to throw you through a curveball and end us on a more fun note. We'll see where you go with this though. Is I talked to you kind of about your personal tip on what you would give people about what you have learned. Do you have any resources that you would suggest that people use or look at or watch or read or anything like that that have been really valuable for you in your transition in your career?
Stay up with current events. You don't have to be a news nut, but stay up with current events. Because if you're traveling all over the place, things could happen in one spot that will affect where you're going. So I'll give you an example. Years ago, some of you might remember this story, but in Minneapolis, there was a tanker driver that unknowingly to him, drove onto a closed highway that was having people were protesting on the highway, and the tanker driver was doing his regular run. He was a fuel tank driver, and this was all part of the George Floyd or part of that time
Yeah,
frame.
like 2020.
And yeah, the driver got pulled out of the truck because they thought he was there to hit people. A big story on the news because the driver got beaten up, and it just wasn't good. So, because I follow current events, I heard about this, and I was heading for somewhere, little sketchy neighborhood kind of spot, and made the decision that, yeah, no, I'm not going to go there. So that was a phone call to dispatch saying, yeah, we're going to put this one off. There's something going on there, and we're going to let this calm down. I wasn't heading to Minneapolis, but I was heading to another bigger city, sketchy neighborhood. And it was just, there again, it's follow your gut. And I didn't have a good feeling. So that's one way. Now, on a total kind of different way, is stay on top of the weather, especially in the wintertime. If the weather looks bad, it's likely going to be bad. So find a parking spot before you absolutely need a parking spot, or one is chosen for you, as in roads closures and you're parked on the side of the road instead of in a truck stop where you have access to facilities. So stay on top of that. And you are the captain of the ship. So when dispatch says, well, so-and-so made it through that bad weather, well, so-and-so is not driving this truck. And when they have problems, yeah, if and you got to understand the dispatcher mentality. The dispatcher has pressures too from the same boss that is pressuring you too. So the dispatcher wants the load delivered because the boss wants the revenue for the load to be delivered and everything to go smoothly. But the weather is the glitch. So the weather being the glitch is, well, does the boss want the revenue from the load being delivered on time, or does the boss want the cost of a possible accident because somebody else
trailer flipped.
made a faux pas? And so it's about mitigating risk. So be you got nothing to prove as far as being Superman, Superwoman, or super anybody driving through really bad weather.
What tip would you give the driver who doesn't feel safe, is having that gut instinct, needs to check themselves, but is kind of scared to deliver that message to dispatch? Is it just you just gotta do it? Or is there anything specific that you've found that's really helped with different dispatch teams that have kind of supported with their understanding of your awareness or your situation, pardon me?
The word safety, it is like the key word. So
Sure.
if it's unsafe, I don't feel safe. It's unsafe. Maybe I feel safe tomorrow in the exact same situation, but today, no, not so much.
Hmm.
So it's about asserting the fact that it's about safety, and you will do your best when things feel safer,
Sure. Sure.
especially weather, because there's so much traffic on our roads today. It only takes one, person to be skittish in the weather, and there we go. We have a ping pong ball effect,
Yeah.
or a pinball effect of a big crash. So, and you don't want to be there. It's just, it's not worth it. It's easier to listen to a squawky dispatcher and at the end of the conversation go, yeah, I'm still staying parked, and I'll call you when I move when it looks better,
Yeah.
and hang up the phone.
Yeah.
Like you can ignore the next phone calls, you can ignore the next satellite messages. Like you made your point. It's not
Hmm.
safe. I'll let you know when I move again, and
Yeah.
then we'll go from there. Then trying to explain why you're in the ditch because you were just trying to make dispatch happy.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Just know your boundaries for your safety and assert your dominance. It's not a
Yeah,
question. Yeah, I
yeah.
like that. I like that. All right, my last question for you is what is the most beautiful thing you've seen driving? What's the best view?
The Canadian Rockies.
Yeah.
It is breathtaking. Yes. In the wintertime, it can be a little treacherous, but summertime or spring or fall, it is absolutely beautiful. Snow-capped mountains, like just gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous. I could look at that scenery every day.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me. I think that we have a lot of really good, it's always fun to do these and hear people's stories and be like, okay, well, what would you talk to about this person? I think that we can always pull some fun little tips and tricks for lots of different kinds of people out of them. So thank you for sharing your experience with us and walking us through. This was so much fun. And I will see you in a couple hours. Where are you going to be, you said this afternoon?
Savannah, Georgia.
Nice.
Yes,
Nice.
yeah,
Love
a little
that.
further south. It'll be warmer.
Nice. Well, thank you so much. We will see all of the listeners this fall at our, oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue, Bridging the Barriers conference. And
Yes,
until then, we will have some more episodes for you soon. But thanks everybody and bye for now.
right. Thank you for having me.
Yay. Absolutely.